Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I want to talk to you guys about why after the last Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 18, which the review is up on the channel, so check that out if you haven't already. Chapter review editor absolutely cooked on that review. We need to have a very serious conversation about our favorite Sarutobi, the Riz God himself, Konohamaru Sarutobi, or Sarutobi Konohamaru if we want to be correct. Because after our last chapter, there needs to be a closer observation as to if Konohamaru's time has finally come. Is this the moment where Konohamaru finally dies? Is this the moment where Konohamaru finally gets eaten? Grab those ramen bowls for today's newest Naruto Explain video, where we're going to take a look at why it does make sense for Konohamaru to die at the hands of Matsuri in this arc, or at the very least be eaten by Matsuri. If you had Konohamaru in this predicament on your 2025 bingo book card, you are on a really good start in my opinion. So the potential death or consumption of Konohamaru Sarutobi by Matsuri in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, it's something that, if we're honest here, it could carry a profound narrative weight as well as a huge thematic resonance in the story. So in today's video, we're going to give an analysis of why this outcome could benefit the story, how it impacts Boruto and Sarada's development, and how there are connections to Japanese Shinto and Buddhism stories. So the narrative benefits of killing Konohamaru would raise the stakes, because by killing a legacy character or having a legacy character eaten like Konohamaru, it does demonstrate that no one is safe, and it adds tension and a sense of danger to the story. It could also serve as a fuel for emotional growth. His death would deeply affect Boruto and Sarada, pushing them to confront their limitations and flaws. An example, Boruto's hesitations about intervening in matters of fate, because he's told by Kashin Koji as a singularity of fate he must not meddle. And then when you get to Sarada, it gets into the whole thing of Sarada's own self-doubt. Konohamaru being in this position where he is all alone right now with a very pissed off Matsuri, because she said, who was it that gets to call you Konohamaru-chan? Why can't I call you Konohamaru-chan? And our boy did not have the quick thinking to say, the only way you can call me Konohamaru-chan is if I get to kiss you first. Or he didn't have the quick thinking to say, you can't call me Konohamaru-chan, but you can call me daddy. It also is something that could symbolize failure in love and duty. And I think that this is the most important thing here, all jokes aside. The most important thing is Konohamaru's reflection on Moegi's feelings. It underscores the theme when you look at missed opportunities in love. His distraction in battle, or in this case, in the precipice of the battle, it would parallel his failure to fully acknowledge Moegi's feelings in real life, tying love's unspoken nature to his ultimate demise. Because what made him slip up in this entire situation was the fact that when Matsuri said Konohamaru-chan, he started thinking back to the fact, oh my God, it's Konohamaru-chan. Matsuri is saying this because Moegi used to say it when she was a kid, a teenager, and now as an adult. And as one of my followers on Twitter pointed out, when you go back to the chapter where Konohamaru first met Ada, Ada has a passing line in the chapter where we all caught that she was teasing about the Konohamaru Moegi thing, but Moegi in particular had lines of being very self-possessive when it comes to Konohamaru, talking about the fact that he better not be drooling over her, a hint of jealousy because everyone in the village knew that Ada was supposed to be this beautiful goddess at that point. You look at it from this perspective, Moegi is somebody that is a lot older than Ada at that point, so you can see the jealousy. Older woman looking at a younger female being drooled over by a guy that she's interested in, which that hits home even harder when you start factoring in like the Japanese cultural stuff. Like you have the expression about the cake woman, which is the belief that, for right or for wrong, if a woman's over the age of 25 and unmarried, that she's like a Christmas cake, not good after December 25th, so not good after the 25th year. I go more into detail about that trope and some more stuff in the Who is Rock Lee's Wife video, going over confirmed information from Studio Pierrot, and I talk about a lot of the cultural stuff in Japan for why some of the decisions that were made by the anime were made. I'll leave that in the end credits of this video so as to not get this off track. The other thing is the importance of showing that an awakened shinju consuming their target, what the ramifications of that are. I think that's something that we as a community, we've all been interested in. We have a vested interest in that actually playing out. If Matsuri consumes Konohamaru, it's going to demonstrate the true threat of awakened Shinju. The narrative would finally clarify the consequences of these beings consuming their targets. This knowledge is going to heighten the urgency of stopping the others like Matsuri if Matsuri does get her hands on Konohamaru and eats them. Now all of a sudden, you look at Himawari and Sarada and whoever else is a target, Ada, and now you realize, okay, there are real stakes to it. Right now, it's just this invisible boogeyman. We're more left as readers to imagine what can happen versus we would finally know what happens. You also have the opportunity to start exploring love as a destructive obsession. So Matsuri's love for Konohamaru, born from Moegi's chakra, which half a chakra is tied into spiritual energy, which that's your emotions and your heart. It's going to show the evolving into violence and showcases how unbalanced love becomes dangerous, echoing the destructive potential of unchecked emotions. You also get more from the world building expansion, which despite popular belief, world building does not just mean travel island to island or city to city. You get world building in the sense that the Shinju lore is going to expand by revealing what happens when they consume someone. It's a critical unknown that could shape the protagonist's strategies and give us more insights as readers. Then you get into the impact on Boruto and Sarada as characters. For Boruto, you're going to start seeing challenges to his philosophy. Boruto's reluctance to fully trust Kashin Koji's advice about being a singularity of fate, it would lead to guilt. If he chose to not intervene earlier due to Kashin Koji's cold hard logic, he would question his role in this tragedy if it does occur. Boruto, because of his personality, because of who his parents are, he's going to wonder, could I have saved him? Look at how guilty he felt over Sasuke. This also reinforces his drive to change fate, which is a huge part of Boruto's character. Seeing the cost of inaction through Konohamaru's fate, it would serve as a strengthening of Boruto's resolve to challenge fate itself, no matter the cost. This aligns with this role as a singularity of fate that Kashin Koji is missing. His role as a singularity of fate is to be a disruptor of destiny itself, very much so the same way that his father was. When you get into Sarada, it's also a failure to protect our master, something that she has not yet experienced, but Boruto has experienced. Sarada's absence due to her battle with Ryu, it adds personal guilt, reflecting on her struggles with responsibility and with leadership, whereas Boruto had to run away in shame, basically, at the orders of his master. We are now in a situation where Sarada is going to be unable to save her sensei. This would strengthen her Hokage resolve. The failure would push Sarada to grow stronger as a protector, motivating her to ensure she never fails to lose someone close to her ever again. This would also mirror her personal conflict. Konohamaru's fate could remind Sarada of how love, when unspoken or misdirected, leads to loss, paralleling her internal conflict over her potential feelings for Boruto, should the story go that route. Gotta throw that disclaimer in there because anytime you talk about pairings or anything, people absolutely lose their shit because everybody's so invested in one pairing or the other. So when you get into the Shinto and Buddhist mythological parallels and religious parallels respectively, you get into more here. So the scorned lovers in mythology. So in Kiyohime and in Anshin, the Buddhist tale, in this story, Kiyohime, she falls in love with a monk named Anshin. When her love is unrequited, she transforms into a vengeful spirit and kills him in a fit of rage. This tale strongly mirrors Matsuri's transformation into a violent entity fueled by Moegi's unfulfilled love. When you get into the vengeful spirits in Shinto, scorned lovers often manifest as Onryu, which are spirits driven by jealousy and unfulfilled love, causing harm to those who wronged them. Matsuri embodies the spirit, representing how love, if twisted by jealousy or obsession, leads to destruction. Love as a consuming force is the other thing. So in Buddhism, attachment and desire are sources of suffering. Matsuri consuming Konohamaru would symbolize how excessive attachment, born from Moegi's love, consumes both the lover and the one that is loved. It serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unbalanced love, which Naruto and Boruto as series borrow heavy on Shintoism and Buddhism, both of which preach about the balance aspect to being inside the natural world. This is unbalanced love. The whole purpose is to seek balance. Konohamaru's death or consumption also serves as a form of symbolism, a tragic love story, if you will. Konohamaru and Moegi's unspoken love, indirectly leading to Matsuri's violent obsession. It highlights how unacknowledged emotions can spiral into tragedy. They also have the opportunity to go for the whole symbolism in the failure of the mentor generation. Konohamaru's fall, it would underscore his failure of his generation to fully prepare the next generation, which that would be a very bold take. You could argue outside of Naruto and Sasuke, they have not done a good job preparing the next generation. This would place a burden of victory solely and squarely on Boruto and Sarada because they are a representation of Naruto and Sasuke's success. By extension, you could also put Kawaki in there because Kawaki is Naruto's student. In conclusion, I'll wrap up and I'll say this. Konohamaru's potential death or consumption by Matsuri, it is narratively compelling in a lot of ways because it raises the stakes and it clarifies the threat of the shinju. It deepens Boruto and Sarada's character arcs through guilt, loss, and resolve. It has strong ties into Japanese and Buddhist themes, so in particular Japanese Shinto and Buddhist themes. It emphasizes the destructive nature of love and attachment when misdirected, and it allows the story to start making inroads into helping the characters find balance in this whole thing. The outcome, it would deeply resonate with the story's themes of love, fate, and sacrifice, making this a powerful addition to the Boruto 2 Blue Vortex story. I think we're right now at a point where you have to pull the trigger. If not now, it needs to be at some point very soon. You have to pull the trigger. You have to rip people's hearts out at least once. And it can't be a fake out situation. That's not to say that you kill Konohamaru, but even if he's just consumed and put into a deep sleep, we need to see what happens when a shinju actually gets their target and consumes them. It could be the same thing moving forward, that you get the Thorn Soul Bulb and you can revive them. That is fine, but there needs to be a payoff for this whole situation. What happens when a shinju gets their hands on a target? What is the ultimate payoff for that? It cannot be something as simple as they get a shinju counterpart that is like their twin flame or something like that, which twin flames goes back to Greek mythology belief that every person has a soulmate. It can't be something as simple as that. There needs to be a larger payoff, and the story has earned enough trust in me as a reader for me to wait to see what that is. I really hope this is not a false gun scenario where it becomes something like what you saw, no spoilers, with Jujutsu Kaisen's ending, where something gets hyped up and it never actually happens. I'm hoping this isn't a false gun scenario like this, because when you look at the story objectively based on where we are, that would kind of be like if you go back to Naruto and you had the threat of the Akatsuki and you never saw what happens when the Akatsuki capture Jinchuriki. You just get told over and over, we can't allow the Akatsuki to capture Jinchuriki. We can't allow them to extract the Biju from a Jinchuriki. We have to stop them. That never hits home the right way if you never see it take place. The same thing with Boruto losing everything from Momoshiki's prophecy. It does not hit home if it never actually occurs. That's what I mean when I say payoff. Those are Chekhov's gun scenarios. This cannot be a false gun. This has to be a Chekhov's gun. If you enjoyed this video, obviously consider subscribing and clicking here to watch the chapter review if you haven't already, or clicking here to check out the video I mentioned earlier about the truth about Rock Lee's wife. That video was edited by an editor who's going to be making a return back to the channel later on this spring, starting in April. So strongly recommend watching that one if you want to learn more.